What's going on YouTube? We're back with another episode of the FPS series. This is also the fourth time that I've tried to record this intro, and each time it has crashed. So if you're seeing this, then finally it worked. But, regardless, I'd got some requests for this, and I personally wanted to do this because I feel like it's not a game, especially an FPS game or third-person game, if it doesn't have this feature. Switching weapons and picking up weapons. So we're gonna get into that. I've got a new model for a gun model that we can use as the second gun. Now there's some issues with it, but I'm not gonna address those this episode. I'm gonna focus solely on the picking up of the weapon and the switching of the weapons, not the details of the new imported model. We'll fix those later. But anyways, I did organize the weapons folder. I dragged all the AKM stuff into its own folder, and I imported the new gun into its own thing. So that's good. So yeah, now that we have that, let's just real quick open the mesh. Now you're like, but we're not supposed to be doing anything with the gun specifics. Well, we're not. If you remember, what one important thing that we need is we need a socket, and we need muzzle. Now that's how I spelt it. I remember I spelled muzzle wrong, so I'm just gonna stick with that because that's how we spelled it in weapon base, if I remember correctly. Yes. Anyways, so man, this looks so much different from how it is on my other project. On my other project, it's got way more stuff in here because I have pickup functionalities and weapon switching functionalities. Also on the Bro Dude, it looks way more empty. So you can tell right now that there's going to be large changes. Actually, I don't know why I closed that because we're going to need that open. Anyways, so let's get into it by starting with our begin play. So we're gonna break that. We're no longer gonna use that because we're not gonna spawn with the weapon now. We're going to add a custom event. And by the way, this is the main reason why I haven't been uploading anything lately is because I've been working on this for about 3 days. It took me about 10 to 12 hours combination of the 3 days. So yeah, it's actually probably more. But anyways, it's been a long time. So we're gonna add a variable called pickup weapon 1, and yeah, that's what we're going to. That's what we're going to be doing, is pick up weapon 1. And now on the inputs, we need to add a weapon base class, and we're going to connect it to this. Or no, sorry, actually we're not spawning it. I'm sorry. We don't need a weapon base class. Delete delete your spawn actor here, and actually leave the class, and just in case we may need it later, do a weapon base reference, because I forget which one we need. So call this weapon class, and then weapon reference. Now I'm gonna add a little note here if I can. I guess it's not letting me. Okay, that's good. So, oh no, it'll let me. It was just clicked on my RAM cleaner. Call it self, because that's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be our self. So I'm gonna drag this out of the way so we can see everything. Anyways. So now we've got a little bit of stuff is looking slightly more empty because you know, that giant spawn with its transform, that's gone. So that's because we're going to literally pick up the weapon. We're going to attach the weapon that's on the floor to our player. So anything that was referenced to the weapon, like the equipped weapon, attach it to that. And then everything that was and then anything else, just attach it to this. So all the targets, just double check that they're all attached, but obviously they are because we don't have any issues here. Make sure everything's connected, because otherwise you might have some issues. Now I'm going to leave this gap here for a very specific reason, but we need to go over to our and this is just going to be to pick up the weapons. We're not working on switching them yet. We need to hop over to our weapon base, and we're going to work on over here being able to pick it up. So first of all, what we need to do is we actually are going to need to add a new skeletal mesh. So actually you can duplicate what you have here, and it don't have to be specifically parented anywhere, but call it pick up mesh. Now the reason this is called a pickup mesh is because we need to be able to see our mesh in the in game. Like when we walk up to it, we need to be able to see it in game, because if you guys remember, the real size of our mesh is very, very tiny. It's not big like this. It's very, very tiny somewhere inside this gun. So just make it like 104, which I think is like the normal size for what we had. Yeah, 104. So just make it 104. It doesn't have to be the decimals and everything, because this is going to be immediately hidden. But that's since we have a pickup mesh, make something the child of. We are going to make something the child of it. And that's going to be the sphere. So that's just going to be the pickup collision. So I'm going to make it, oh, I don't know, 3. How about we do 4? That looks better. So that's a good distance to walk up and be able to pick it, I feel like. So we're going to need to add 2 things: on component begin overlap and on component end overlap. And these 2 things are going to activate a variable called can pick up. I don't know why I did spaces. I never usually do spaces, because in case I decide to go to C++ and edit something, which I don't usually, but just in case. And plus, this is supposed to be a blueprint series. And we're going to, on the other actor, add Castor Bro Dude. And then can pick up true. And duplicate that. Can pick up true. Or false once we exit it. Alright. So, we need to be ticking yet again something else. So, what that is going to be is a branch if we can pick up. Now, we have our lovely Castor Dude always ticking, right? Well, we're going to use this casted bro dude, I suppose, to our advantage, and just I'm going to be dragging off of this all the time. Anyways, we're going to actually, I don't know that I have that on this project yet, do I? No, I don't. We're gonna need to add something else over on our bro dude, on our character. So go get something like key, and E right here. So type in K and scroll up to E. Yeah, type in K, scroll up to E. It totally makes sense. But anyways, it makes sense indeed. So we're gonna make a new variable called interaction button pressed. So we're going to have this set every time we either press or do not or release our thing. And I'm gonna grab its name so that way I can comment it accordingly. Okay. I also am gonna comment. I'm probably gonna comment some of this stuff later, but we'll worry about that at a later time. So, um, where is it? There. Why is it saying depreciated? Am I in a different? There's a whole lot of other stuff that's popping up that's kind of confusing me, like depreciated and all these other stuff, all this other stuff that's popping up. Am I in an Unreal version that I don't know about? Am I in 12, 1 or 4.12 or whatever, and I don't know it? I am. I thought I was in 10. Well, I converted to 12 finally. I hope you guys are glad because I hate downloading a new Unreal version and updating to it, but I guess you kind of have to do it. Anyways, so now that we have interaction button pressed, we're going to get interaction button pressed, and we should probably compile and save everything up, because you know, saving stuff is pretty nice. Come on. But like I was saying, this is going to be actually a pretty big episode because of how much actually needs to be done in this episode just to get the pickup done and just to get the switching done. So I'm going to make this a very lengthy episode, but it'll be worth it because at the end of the episode you will have everything done that you were hopefully looking for. All right. So, if this is true, we're gonna actually create another variable. I'm doing stuff ahead of time because you know I troubleshooted all of this and all the variables that we're gonna need and the bools and whatever. So some stuff I might forget and there's gonna be a cut in the video. I'm gonna look back, but we're gonna need has weapon 1. So that's a question. But obviously we're going to need to set it at some point. So we're going to set it at the end of us getting a equipped weapon. We're going to make a new variable called second weapon. Don't worry about that. But once at the end of this, we need to set has weapon 1 to true, because we don't want running the pickup weapon. That's why I called it pickup weapon 1, because we're gonna have 2, and you can have 3 or 4, but that kind of gets more complicated once you have more than 2. Honestly, having 2 weapons is super simple. I assume that's why a lot of games allow you to only have 2 weapons. But anyways, continuing on, we need to have this question here and ask that question here also as well, because you know we don't want to set weapon 1 twice, or the equipped weapon, to the new weapon we picked up necessarily. So we're gonna have it set we're gonna have a new custom event that picks up the second weapon. So that comes later, but don't worry. And no, we're not gonna have has weapon 2. That's only if you're having 3 weapons. Anyways, so if that's true, then we're gonna branch to see if we have has weapon 1, and if it's true, then we're going to branch off to our second variable for picking up weapon 2. But if it's false, we need to again cast to our bro dude and pick up weapon 1. Now we have that set, but it's a completely different thing now, because now we need to actually be able to, now we need to link this to this stuff, so that way we can actually attach it. So that's why I put this note here, so that way, just in case you forget, you know that this needs to be self, but we need the weapon reference, and if you want, you can get the class, fine. you might want to, just in case other things, and promote it to an actual variable, so that way when in your child weapons you can set which class it is, because that will be important when you're picking up the weapon. You need to know which class it is, because you'll open this up and you'll have your AKM or your Western weapon or your AK-47 or your M4 M14 or whatever weapon you've got. You're gonna make a child class from the weapon base and make it its own weapon each time. And so you might want that if you're doing more advanced things with the weapon than what I demonstrate in this tutorial series. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. It might be useful. So let's go over to our pickup weapon. And now that it has everything attached and all this fanciness, a little problem occurs. So when we actually pick up the weapon, I'm not going to demonstrate this just for crashing reasons or whatever, but when we pick up the weapon, we still have this giant pickup mesh. And this is also our sphere is also enabled. So we still have that overlapping, that beginner end overlap happening, sorry. And so there's a possibility of us pressing E again and it thinking, oh, well, you need to pick up the weapon that's already in your hand because we didn't shut this off. So we need to shut this off, and we also need to hide our pickup mesh. So the two ways we do that is whenever we has weapon 1, so grab another branch, has weapon 1, attach it here. I'm just gonna grab this and drag it to a nice blank area. If has weapon 1 is true, which means we picked it up and all of that, then we need to destroy component sphere, no, sorry, we need to get sphere, and we should just be able to deactivate it, and then later we can activate it if we need to whenever we drop it, but we need to deactivate it, and we also need to hide or set hidden in-game pickup mesh. Come on, there we go. And there we go. So that will thus allow us to, because then there becomes an error and a loop, and there's errors when you try and pick up a second weapon if you leave this sphere activated. And obviously if this pickup mesh isn't hidden, then there's a giant AK-47 in your face. Trust me, it's pretty ugly. So that's one area solved and whatnot. But let's actually go back to our bro dude and set it up so that way we can pick up our second weapon. How about it? So that way we can finish this area. Okay, lag. That's just dandy. I'm gonna be right back because it's most likely gonna crash. Oh my gosh, it's a miracle. It didn't crash. The second I stopped recording, it fixed itself. So I'm kind of glad. We're good. We're good. I didn't want to deal with that. And because that scare happened, I'm gonna save everything. Okay, so let's consolidate all of this, I suppose, because I don't think there's any more bools or anything that we're gonna need to add and whatnot. So let's drag all that and kind of consolidate it, and we will comment all of these and call it pick up one. Sweet. We're gonna kind of pull this over so that way it's not intruding on other blueprint crap. I guess. Just a little bit of reorganizing. You know how it is. Anyways, so we're going to... I'm kind of going to just duplicate this entire thing. Actually, you know what? I'm not. I'm going to just... Okay. Okay. Create a new custom event, sorry. And this is, once again, for Pickup Weapon 2. And call it Pickup Weapon 2. And then we are going to do the exact same thing. We're going to add a thing called reference and one called class. I probably should call them weapon and whatever, but it's we know what we're talking about. So yeah. Anyways, let's keep those in the same order that they were previously. Yep, okay. Weapon reference, weapon class, whatever. Anyways, so we're going to need to do the exact same kind of thing. So I'm gonna duplicate the. Actually, I remember I don't do an animation the second time. I just have it immediately attached to its back. That's only the animation if it's if we're picking it up. So you don't run the animation the second time, but we are going to add a new variable called second weapon, and this once again will be from the weapon base reference class thingy. Anyways, I do just want to grab this because it already has the socket name and everything and blah. You know what I mean. It just has everything all nice and dandy for me. So we're going to get that reference and set second weapon, and then we are going to attach that to that. And as far as I know, the only other problem that we're going to have here is we're going to need to set can fire to true on that, because there becomes an issue when you have the multiple weapons, and I'll fix this later because I'm sure I'm forgetting some stuff. But what happens is when you pick up the second weapon, it can't differentiate actually for some reason between the second weapon firing and the first weapon firing, whatever. But I'll get it all sorted out whenever we actually play it. I feel like I'm missing a whole lot here, but I don't know. I'm sure, like I said, I will sort it out. But that should be pretty much just about it. So we need to grab this, pick up weapon 2, and I'm just gonna duplicate these. Class, reference, there we go. Holy crap. Stuff is not working. There we go. Oh my word. And now that's good. Compile that, and once again, I'm sure I'm missing some stuff, and I'm gonna keep everything saved before I play it. But let's work on switching the weapon now. So I'm gonna use Q as my weapon switch key, and with that, we're going to run our animations like we have been doing. So I'm just gonna kind of grab everything. I'm a lazy coder. A lazy coder copy pastes a lot, but also an efficient coder copy pastes a lot. So once we press, and this is actually, you don't need to do like a flip-flop kind of a thing here like you would with a bool. It's more of like you set 3 different things. Anyways, I don't know how to explain it, but you'll see it, and I will explain it as I'm going. We're going to add one more variable called weapon transfer slot. This is what I found to work. There may be a better way, and I am just really noobing out here. But what this is our middleman, and I'll explain it as we go. But we need to we're gonna need to set our weapon transfer slot to second weapon, and then we're going to need to set second weapon to what our equipped weapon is, and then we're going to set our equipped weapon. Sorry, wrong one. Set our equipped weapon to what our transfer slot is. Now let me explain this real quick. If you're like, oh my gosh, this is so many setting and he's using each one, and okay, let me explain it really quick as easily as I can and in as much layman terms as possible. What's gonna happen is we can't set the second weapon to the equipped weapon and the equipped weapon to the second weapon, because once we set equipped weapon to second weapon or vice versa, we literally have a duplicate weapon. But if we make a middleman where something is transferred in between, as in the transfer slot, we can set the second weapon so that preserves the second weapon, and then we set our new second weapon to our current weapon. So now we're switching, right? And then we're grabbing the one off our back, which is our preserved slot, our second weapon, our original second weapon over here. This is being grabbed and made our current weapon. So if you were kind of confused, I hope that helps you. But pretty much, once again, it's just saving one gun, switching, and then using the one we saved, I guess is another way to say it. But now we need to actually run the little animations here. So we're going to attach where are we? I'm gonna actually literally grab our stuff here. And we'll just run it right together like nothing ever happened. So we need the second weapon to go to the vac, and then we need our current weapon to pop up in our hand, and then we'll end in the switch weapon. And then what we need to do is we need to set this to a blank thing again. So we're going to create yet another variable, and this is just going to be called weapon base don't set, because this is just going to be this is once again the easiest way I found to do this. But we're going, crap, I don't know why I did that. We're going to set this back to the clean slate, so that way next time we reset our or next time we switch weapons, it's not still at this one, because if we don't reset it, it's still going to be stuck at that. So we want it to set back to the weapon base. We want it to be clean slate once again for it to work properly. So now that we have everything all good saved up, I'm going to create a child blueprint for AKM, and then a child blueprint for Russian, for a Russian gun. Now, since we have the ability to pick up weapons and we have child blueprint classes, we are never again going to use the weapon base to pick, or we're never again placing the weapon base in our world and picking it up. That's where we're never gonna ever do that again. But what we are going to do is we are going to set some real quick variables. Also, this is something else I forgot to do. I am so sorry, but we need to create another variable on our weapon base, and this is so that way we can make guns universal once again, and we don't have to, and we can set the new meshes and everything properly. So set the this to weapon mesh, and that's just going to be a skeletal mesh reference, and we are going to it's going to be a variable. We're going to get it, and we are going to set skeletal mesh like that, and it needs to keep the current pose. Do not reinitialize pose, I believe. That's what would make sense to me, but 1.12 has obviously changed plenty of things. Now let's hop over to our Russian gun and set it up. So our weapon mesh is going to be our Russian gun, and then our pickup mesh, make that once again your Russian gun, and your skeletal mesh, I'm just gonna set that to the Russian gun just in case. You can see there's some errors here. You can't see through the red dot sight. The textures are a little messed up on that, and there. But I mean, that like I had said, we'll fix it in another episode. So thank you for bearing with me and allowing me to fix it in another episode. But we're gonna set that all up for that, and then we're going to open up the AKM and do the same thing. That's that, and then that should still be that, and that should still be that. Sweet. The class needs to be AKM there, and the class needs to be Russian gun here. Now we're gonna set can fire to false. Trust me on this, because it does create an error and everything starts firing. And back to our bro dudes, that way we can actually fire. Let's comment this real quick. Switch weapons. Okay. At the end of this, grab the equipped weapon and set can fire to true. That's just what I had on the other project, and I remember it was for good reason, because errors and things would happen. So I'm going to save everything up in case I do crash, and we are going to pick up, and we're going to place down our Russian gun and our AKM. Now we're going to play. Now we're going to obviously spawn with nothing, but we're going to press E here, and we should thus pick that up, and we're going to press E here, and this is one of the errors I was running into. And of course, yep, this is one of the problems I was running into. So I'm probably going to go to my other project and find out specifically how I fix this, because as you can see, if I pick up the Russian gun first, I can, and then my AK-47, it does the Russian gun every time I switch the weapons. But if I pick up the AK-47 first, and then I pick up the Russian gun, I am able to switch. But the problem is like you saw, I pick it up, and then I pick up the second one, and then it goes blank, and then I switch, and then it's, like I said, the Russian gun wants to do itself twice. So I'm going to go back to my other project and try to find out exactly how or what I missed, because I know there's something very, very important. Sorry, I'm yawning as I'm talking and stretching. So I'm going to definitely find out what that is, and I will be right back with the definite answer to make everything work. Alright, real quick, this is the solution. I already did it to double check, so that way I didn't start the recording and be like, okay, so here's what it was, and I'm goofing off. So I already did it, and this was the solution, and there was a slight issue, but I had everything right. One small thing. We need to create another bool called picked up. And at the end of pickup weapon 2 and pickup weapon 1, set picked up to true. Okay? Now, we need to tick if we are picked up. Grab it off the sequence, the tick. If picked up is true, then we can pick up needs to be always set to false. Always set to false, because I remember stuff wasn't working with disabling this. So this is mildly irrelevant. Just leave everything the way it is, because I know it works. I mean, I'll demo it here real quick. So we'll pick up our AK-47, and then we'll pick up that, and now we won't have an empty hand. And when we switch, now obviously our switching animation does not run, but while we are running, but we can switch between the weapon, and we can still shoot and everything. Now the reason actually we're not able to fire, that's something I'm going to handle here really quick. But as you can see, everything is actually picking up just fine. Now I'm getting a little bit of lag, but that's probably because my other Unreal Engine project is open. Anyways, so we're going to solve the issue of firing here really quick, and that's going to be a solution that we're going to handle after I come right back. Alright, so I fixed the bullet issue. It actually was spawning the bullets, but this must be a change in 12 or something. I don't know. But the issue was our bullet size in our object. I played around and I realized, you know, if I scaled this up, scaled up the muzzle, you know, I would see the bullet. So if you just scale up the bullet to about 3-ish, it looks okay. For the AK-47, I have it in third person. Hold up, so before I spawn in, let me set it back to first person. It looks okay, but you're gonna have to mess with the muzzle size in the Russian gun. I'm of course gonna fix the aim down sights. I have some values for that because I perfected the aim down sights of both this and the Russian gun. But if you look at the Russian gun, it spawns the bullets much larger, so you could fix that. And of course, I'm probably gonna change where the muzzle spawns. I slowed down the bullet speed, by the way, so that way I could see where the bullets were. So that's not a realistic bullet speed, trust me. But I found that a good bullet speed is about 9,000. Actually, I was playing with it the other day, and I felt like 9,000 felt about right. But of course, you can play around with this. Anyways, so in the next episode, I'm going to cover bullet spread, probably. So that's going to be a really cool thing that I think a lot of you would appreciate, is some bullet spread. When we walk around, you kind of get your own bullet spread just from moving. But of course, we want legitimate bullet spread, like when we're still, we want bullet spread. Now, as of now, I haven't gotten the bullet spread to the point where it grows when you fire. That's probably going to be a later episode. But anyways, the upcoming episodes will probably be some stuff from requests. We'll do sprinting soon. I know it's kind of like sprinting and crouching is like, oh my gosh, that's like some of the base functionalities of FPS, and you haven't got that covered, dude. What the heck? Sorry, that's kind of my bad. But yeah, anyways, I'm working on some other more like bigger, harder stuff. That's what someone said. Anyways, so once again, I would like to thank all of you very much for watching this episode. If you liked it, please smack the like button in the face, because it likes that. Anyways, also hit subscribe, tell your friends, coworkers, you know, just whoever, you know, would be interested in my content. And if you guys want me to do more gaming, I'm thinking about starting a Minecraft survival series, 1.10 survival series with my friends, so that might be popping up here on the channel pretty soon. But anyways, thank you all for watching very much, and I will see you in the next one.